Hi you guys, welcome to Mindfulness Monday and this last video on the topic of juicing your connection, getting into conscious sexuality, playing in that land of being able to juice that connection with others, filling our cup up there. So I want to talk to you and give you a template today. And this is a template that, although it's going to be a template where I talk to you and give you this template and then I go through this template and work it through as if it were a template for conscious sexuality or your connection in the bedroom or your intimate connections, how you can use this template for that. But the template basically you can use in any facet or area of your life. This is the practice of Tantra, which is the oldest tradition of yoga in the world. We turn our light and compass on one area and we start to get conscious and mindful of that area, and then another one and another one and another one. So whether it's sex or money or your job or your meditation practice or your yoga practice or getting physically in the body, this template can be used to enhance any one of them. You can use this as a base template for how would if I wanted to turn my compass here, how would I do that? Maybe have a little bit better footing, and how could I play in that space and find some amazing growth and gain some amazing knowledge, experiential knowledge. Okay, so there are 3 parts to this template. And the first part is you got to turn your compass and focus and attention there to that topic and go, yeah, this is important. This is a place I want to play in. And then 2, you have to set and hold a space for yourself to play in. And be vigilant about holding that space to play in. Then the third thing is you play in that space. We're only playing in this part of the space here. In any topic of your life, in any area of your life, I can guarantee that unless you've really explored all this and you've worked through it, 90% of us, we're only playing through this range and this lens, and we're only seeing this little bit. And so this is about going, oh, like there's so much more out there. I didn't even think to look at it that way. I didn't even think that could be a practice that was related to that. I didn't, it's about opening up your range in every way in how you play physically, mentally, emotionally, in every range in that topic. So that's the first thing you have to do. You have to find a topic that's worthy of your time to spend your focus and attention on, because it's going to be hard to hold that space, and then to be able to let yourself honestly, playfully, joyfully dig into and go through the ups and downs and the blacks and the whites and the fear and the trauma, and just get in and dig into that place and play. So pick a topic that you either feel comfortable with or that you feel like there's something there that I'd like to explore, or you could go all in and find a topic that you've had a lot of pain over your lifetime with, or something that you've ignored that you know you need to look at and that might be beneficial to look at. And it could be more surface level, like I'm just playing and trying this template out, to like something deep like this, like sex and connection. And so, for example, with that sex and connection, there were 2 things that drew me into practice. I have been a lifetime practitioner of connection and sexuality. It's always been something that I've enjoyed, and a part of my life that brought me pleasure and that helped me feel grounded and connected is when I was in union with that partner in sex. And you can take 2 routes when it comes to sex in the mindfulness or meditation world. You could abstain from it, or you can delve into it and use it as sex as a meditation tool. As Osho said, that one path from sex to super consciousness, one path through meditation and through to consciousness. And that depends on who you are. For me personally, I decided at some point I was with a partner that I felt safe with, and I just realized I'm going all in, and I've been with this partner for many years and I see them in my life, and this relationship hasn't burned out, And it's super amazing, off the charts, sometimes in the bedroom and not all the time in the bedroom. And it's a little wobbly, and I'd like to know why and where. And since I'm with this person and I'm all in, I want to know. And then on the personal level, I knew for me personally, through sitting on the meditation mat for hundreds of hours in meditation, I knew that this was an area that I didn't want to abstain from. I wanted to dig in and go through. There were some things personally that I could unfold, especially living in this Western world, being a female, and living in a world where I had to balance power in being a lawyer and being in this arena. And also I saw the dysfunctionality about sex and pleasure and joy in the Western thinking in this Western world. And as a woman, I wanted to own that, and I wanted to swim in that sensuality, and I wanted to commune with it. And I knew that there were lessons there for me to be learned, and there were, profoundly. And so that's why I looked at that topic and went, I'm ready. I'm ready to go all in. And sometimes picking your topic is you're not quite ready, but you trust yourself in that there's something there that could benefit me, and you take a leap of faith and go forward with it and explore that topic. And so that's what it was with me. I had a safe place to explore in, and I wanted to explore and grow. I knew there was growth in that. That was a rich, fertile place for growth. And then, so I thought, how do I hold the space for myself? Because that's the second part of this template, is you hold a space for yourself. And in the realm of sex and connection, holding a space for yourself is so important. It's about holding a space for yourself to become intimate with that other person and to connect. And holding a space in your own body, in your own rhythm, in your own desire, and to maintain that. Because that's what the traditional energetic practice of tantric sex or connection is your energy rises up to meet theirs, and you play in this space of giving and receiving, of, and so in order to do that takes a lot of honesty and vulnerability. And so I found practices like metta meditation to help me hold that space in myself. Practices like yab-yum, just literally looking into my lover's eyes, staring at them, whether you do yab-yum just seated face to face, or you sit right on top of them, clothed or fully naked, and in the middle of the act of sex, and just staring into their eyes and feeling the feedback between the two of you, and to be able to delve into that space, that into me see. That's what intimacy is. Into me see. I will allow you. I'm laying down my guard. I'm going to allow myself to be seen. And in the same time, not expecting anything in return. Because you'll see all these practices, this template, 1, 2, 3, these steps in this template. None of them involve anybody else outside you. As people are always talking, because we know we can't change anybody outside us, and people are always talking about, oh, does my partner have to be down with this? Like, I have a partner that would never try Tantra, but I would love to do it, or conscious sexuality or connection. And I always say to them, it's nothing. It has nothing to do with your partner. All these practices you'll see are like me. I change the way I do that. I hold the space for myself, and in turn it holds the space for our connection together. So I found practices that helped me stay in tune with my internal compass, my natural rhythm, my own desire, that laid the foundation for me to have the ability to speak my truths about this topic, to see it truly in my own eyes, without expectation of the other, without expectation of what that sexual connection or intimate connection was going to bring about. Practices in myself that could keep me grounded in that goalless practice of just playing, literally playing in this area without expectations, without goals. And some of those were my practice of qigong or yoga and meditation, because the practice of yoga and qigong helped me to stay in tune and fluid with my bodily rhythms, or even like an ecstatic dance or rollerblading or longboarding, because that's what's happening when we're having these intimate connections or we're having sex with another human being. We get stuck up in our head and we're like, oh, I'm supposed to look like this and I'm supposed to be dressed like this, and then the outcome is outcome is orgasm, and if I don't have an orgasm, or if he doesn't have an orgasm, or she doesn't have an orgasm, or whatever, then we're all jammed up here, and we've lost that intuition, that connection, that flow, that rhythm. And so I practiced in many facets and areas of my life, staying grounded and connected to my own internal rhythm, to my own internal compass. And that was on the mat in the physical realm, and also on my meditation cushion every day. I sit down and meditate and keep my space clear and keep my space clean and keep myself deeply saturated in that. And then throughout the day, stay present about it, and throughout the day, play with it. So it's throughout the day thinking about the topic, allowing it to excite me, and then play with that with my partner, and maybe send them a sexy text and just be like, last night was so delicious. I can't wait to have another experience like that with you. Or it was to share that, what you're feeling, and not expect them to share what they're feeling. Or I did a practice of orgasmic meditation. It was created by Nicole Daedone. She wrote the book Slow Sex. And in the end of that practice, it's so beautiful because it holds a space. There's a container and a space within that practice. But at the end of that practice, she has you share a moment of a sensation in that practice, in that sexual practice. And you share a moment like when there was a moment where this dropped in, and I felt this complete sensation just rise up from my root, like all the way up through my body, and it did this, and it felt like this, or there was a moment where I just relaxed, or there was a moment when this happened, and just sharing that moment and playing there. And you don't even have to share with your partner with expectation of them sharing back. You can just recognize that moment in you, and if you want to share, you can share with them, because again, this is all about you. This is all about you. It starts with you. And slowly, what I found over time, as my walls came down, I started to see other inlets, like where do I push his buttons or her buttons, and where do they push my buttons, and how can I not react so much to that button pushing, and how can I hold the space and not push their buttons on purpose and be a dick, because we all do that in our relationships. And then slowly, subtler and subtler, those things happen in you, and they permeate your connection with that other being. And it could be as simple also as coming to them and saying, hey, when I'm not present and we're in the middle of sex or intimacy and I've wandered off into my head, just like we know this in meditation. We sit here and then we wander off, and then our mind tells a story, or past, future, come back. Sometimes in sex we need that same thing, because we wander off into those thoughts of like, oh, am I doing this right? And all those silly thoughts. And so I tried to hold that space in myself, but also allow my partner to show that to me when I was not conscious or present, and to be able to dance in that space with that partner, so that for more saturated periods of time, we were both present and holding the same space of presence together and connection. The hardest thing in this practice of conscious sexuality or conscious sex is letting go of the expectation that it should look like this, it should be like this, that orgasm should be the goal, and this is what orgasm looks like. We have a completely fundamentally flawed concept of what climax and orgasm really is. And when you start to study that, you're like, oh, wait, we have this one dimension vision or viewpoint and experience. Not even just viewpoint. We've usually only experienced this one dimension of the state of orgasm. And again, here there are so many other realms of that, just living and being saturated into that space for long, long periods of time. But we think of it again as like a body, this sharp body sensation that it's like a fire, and you can hardly hold on to it, and you know you're getting close to it, and then it comes, and then it's like, you know, that's such a one dimension way to see it. So as you play in these areas and allow yourself the space and the love and the compassion, then you can play. Then you can really honestly play, because we're not honestly playing about this topic. We're not honestly communicating about this topic. I was watching a TED Talks the other day on just fantasies, of just sharing your fantasy. And he was talking about how he interviewed like 500 people and asked them about their fantasies. First of all, our fantasies, we think, oh my gosh, it's going to be like this weird fantasy, and nobody else is going to have this fantasy. And if I tell them this fantasy, what's going to happen? They're going to freak out. Like, all of that is fear-based in our head. He said, most of us have those same fantasies and connections, but yet we're like, ooh, I'm the only one thinking that, or I don't want to share that. And then when we open it up, the second prong to that beautiful TED Talk was, the couples that shared those fantasies and that shared those truths and that shared that intimacy, their bond was so much deeper, and their level of, how they rated their level of joy and their happiness and their connection was like off the charts higher, just by sharing that truth, by being able to do that. So I hope that template helps you in any range that you want to play in any facet or area of your life that you want to look in and look at consciously, and maybe play with and explore. So pick the topic, hold the space, and play. Namaste, you guys.